in a job for a while now, and so maybe they've been promoted once, twice, or whatnot, and so they have some stability. They've felt like they have garnered some sort of reputation in that industry or with that job, and they're in this point where I don't know if I want to be in this thing for the rest of my life, but I've already made a pretty good progress. But at the same time, like I think I want to do something else, but I'm not really super clear on what that other thing is. How should that person go about discerning whether or not they should stay down the same road, whether or not they need to pivot, if they're in this place where like I've garnered some reputation, I don't love the job itself. I think I might want to do something else, but I don't really have much clarity as to what that other thing is. I know that's tough. Like
No,
super
no.
tough,
Well, I
but
mean, I think, and I'll go back to it again because purpose matters a lot. So as we talk about in the book, you have this fire inside you, and you have to define what that is. So the question becomes, with each disruption, we have the chance to actually throw fuel on that fire or not. So I would say that if I'm sitting in a job and I'm in, I'm in my 30s as you played it out, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm so far in. Should I keep doing this or should I do something else? And I would fall back on, first of all, the fundamental fact that time here is finite. You got to make it count in ways that matter. Somebody asked me not that long ago, what's the opposite of a positive disruptor? So we talk about these people being positive disruptors. What's the opposite of a positive disruptor? And you might think it's a negative disruptor, right? Oh, it's the person who blows up the meeting. It's a curmudgeon. It's the difficult guy or gal. You see them come in and you're like, oh man, there they are, type of thing. That's actually not the opposite when it comes down to whether or not you're going to be a positive disruptor. What's the opposite is the relentless pursuit of comfort.
yeah,
Right? If you're just trying to be comfortable all the time and you're not stretching yourself, you will not necessarily make a big ripple in your world. And by the way, the comfort is elusive and it comes at a cost too.
yeah. I think that's so true. I'm thinking of a few individuals in my mind who are in this situation, and I know a lot of people are in this situation. That's so true, right? Oftentimes we're fearful to step out to the unknown because that's uncomfortable. But at the same time, you're just in a maybe currently situation that is still uncomfortable, but not as uncomfortable in the moment as you think it might be if you wander off into this unknown territory. But I think one of the things that we need to realize when we're in that scenario, it's like the little bit of fear that's in the present and that lingers and that lingers and that lingers is a small negative in comparison to the bigger regret that could be looming in the future. And so I think it's really
and I think Jim at the beginning says a lot of people push back on change or don't want to go after something, and they live with a lot of regret and anger and feeling like something's against them, and we're going to take it and harness it for something good.
And what do you feel like is the biggest leap of faith that you've taken in your career or life?
I don't know.
When you've gone into an unknown territory where you're like, I have no idea what
there's been a few of them, right? Starting a business.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember laying in bed going, how am I going to make, $100,000 in payroll this week? That type of thing. I mean, that's like that. I think, and I'll just tie it to this project. So when this thing was started out, and I tried to get Patterson to work on the book with me, and I was kind of struggling. I gave him a couple outlines. He didn't really like it. And we had that conversation where he's like, sometimes you want to work with somebody, it just doesn't kind of work out. And that's like, that kind of, but I still was in the game. So I just rolled the dice on something. I went to the chancellor at Vanderbilt, Chancellor Dearmeyer, who in our world, that's the president of the university. That's the number one person in the organization. And there's lots of people who report up to the chancellor, and I was way down, somewhere in the structure. So for a professor to go make an appointment with the chancellor is kind of rare. But I thought to myself, well, James Patterson's a pretty successful guy from Vanderbilt. Probably good that we have a good relationship with him. I've got him on my phone right now. I could talk to the chancellor, see if he could help me out. So I walk into the chancellor's office, and don't ask me where these numbers came from. So I walk into the chancellor's office, and I say, Chancellor Dearmeyer, I have a 15% chance of writing a book with arguably one of our most successful graduates in their own field and one of the world's best-selling authors, if not the world's best-selling author. But if you give me what I want, it'll go to 50% immediately. And if I do what I promise you I'm going to do, it's going to go up 2 to 3% every month. And he said, what do you want? I said, I want funding for a research team. I need XYZ money. He said, okay, you got it. Now, here's the thing. If you fast forward, and this is not an exaggeration, if you fast forward the number of months it took to finally get that book manuscript sold, and you were to say 2 to 3% each month is 2.5%, 50% that day plus 2.5% per month, it was exactly 100% the month we sold the book.
Wow.
Yeah. So my wife works at Vanderbilt too, and she bumped into Chancellor Diermeyer not that long ago, and he said, "Your husband's tenacious." And I think I'm respectful. I believe I'm kind. I think my heart's in the right place in so many ways, although I sin like the rest of us and I'm trying to get better every day. But I also realize like when I want something, I'm going to do whatever it takes within reason to make that thing happen. And I felt like this is one that I want to land.
That tenacity, if somebody is thinking about whether or not to continue to see something through, because, you talked about it earlier, how oftentimes, where I had it written down, sometimes we're not willing to let things go. You said we're oftentimes not willing to let go of good for great. And that's not really this situation, but there's sometimes like a sunk cost where we feel like we've put so much time and energy. I don't want to give it up now. With you, there was a lot of time and energy put into this thing, and you really wanted to see it all the way through. You really wanted to see it all the way through, but it wasn't seeming to budge. How did you know it wasn't time to give up? How did you know that the tenacity was something that you still wanted to bring forward?
Because I thought his story was compelling, and I thought what we were trying to answer the question on was something that everybody's struggling with. Everybody's struggling right now to varying degrees and living in a world that's very disruptive. COVID taught us all that, but conversations in your family teach you this. Yeah. Opportunities at work teach you this. AI is teaching us this. Businesses you thought would never go away are all of a sudden gone. Tariffs are happening. Supply chain. I mean, just kind of keep layering